Yes, fellas, welcome to the show. I just cut and paste this email over to this WordPress document. I took out the rest of his name to ensure his privacy. He wrote me a very long email, and I'm going to finish it up. I had to increase the font size so that I can read it clearly so I don't make mistakes. That's why I transferred over to a Word document. I wanted you guys to see this so you know this is not fake. This is a real person that I remember talking to a couple of years ago. He writes, "My name is Michael B." I took out the rest of his name. "You probably do not remember me, but about 3 years ago you did a show entirely about me. And I do recall doing the show about him. At the time, I was becoming a pimp slash escort agency owner. Previously, I had dated Toronto's top madam for 6 months, and that part I remember about him, and was in charge of the company and the ladies we employed. I totally remember that. It makes me realize how long I've been doing this. I've been doing this for a long time, fellas. Since the early 2000s or 2000. I started posting on SoSimp in 2001, 2002, and it's now going on 2011. So it's going on 10 years. I realize that was a long time ago, and you likely have no recollection. I remember everything. But I wanted to get you up to date with my life and use me as a specific example for thousands of other men to avoid an unforeseeable and unfortunate future by forgetting what it is to be a real man. I am the ultimate example. My marriage of 10 years ended 5 years ago. For 2 years after that, thanks to the teachings of gentlemen like you and a select few other experts, I plowed through pussy like Thor's mighty hammer. I had oodles of fantastic sex, and I recall him getting laid a lot after he started listening to me. I became a kept man for women with money and power. I created my own mini empire in both the adult and legitimate entertainment sectors. I combined my natural artistic and outgoing personality with tried and true manning up advice that transformed me into a better person. 3 years ago, I wasn't just scoring pussy. I could talk myself to the front line at the bank. I could get free popcorn at the movies. I could sell my words to major magazines around the world. I clawed my way out of living in the back of my car. And that's what I remember about him. When I first talked to him, he was living in the back of the car. And after he spoke with me, he went out and got a female. As I told you fellas, you could drop me anywhere in the world and with $100. By the end of the week, I'll have a female taking care of me. He went out and did that. Anyway, living in the back of my car and into the arms of a dozen different lovely ladies. Now, there's a fella on my forum who's freaking out right now. He's actually not on the forum. He's still part of the free section, but he's freaking out right now because he doesn't have a job, doesn't have a car, and a girl likes him. Look at this fella. He didn't have a place to live. How dare you freak out when this man didn't have a fucking place to live, with no job, nothing. He had nothing going for him. Nothing. And he created a new life for himself. I have nothing but respect for what this guy has done. Let's see if he keeps it. Then she walked into my life. Uh-oh. The damsel in distress. My Achilles heel, my kryptonite. And that happens to a lot of guys who get good with women. They get suckered in by women who pretend to be helpless, who are emotional basket cases, who are total tragedies of human being. Because that Captain Save-A-Ho will come out in guys and they'll get taken advantage of. And I know that's what's going to happen to the brother here. Because he says it right there, my kryptonite. He writes, "You see, all other women I dated seem to have their shit together. job, home, car. Yep. That Captain Hope, Save Hope part of him is going to come out, I bet. Good credit. In other words, they liked me. They liked the sex and enjoyed the company, but they didn't need or depend on me. And that's what makes you weak. You got to watch for that, fellas. Okay? Because women will exploit that. Women, remember, women don't have the physical strength we do, so they learn to manipulate men by appearing helpless. That's why a lot of them dye their hair blonde so they can pretend to be a kind of a ditzy blonde when they're really not. They're playing you for a fool. Okay, I have talked to women who are not natural blondes and say that's why they do it and they act that way. They get more from men. They know that there are men out there that are chumps, and the moment they act helpless, the chump will start tap dancing for them because they want to feel needed, and that's your weakness. I just did 14 audio files on The Pimp Game by Mickey Royal, an instructional guide. Okay, I'm going to put up a special site where you guys can go listen to them. I actually read the book and then I did analysis of each chapter. 14 files. And that's one of the areas I talked about. He writes, that's what steered the pot. Subconsciously, I felt that if I saved someone, they needed me, or they owed me, and therefore I would never be alone. My biggest fear, getting older and alone. When you have game, you will never be alone. I could be 80 years old with the game I have now. I'll find an 80-year-old female to take care of me with some money. Period. So despite the tears and begging of 5 other girls, I took myself off the market, gave up the pimping, and settled into a nice, quiet, simple life. Stepdad of 2 boys. See, I wouldn't have gone into a situation like that with young kids. And for 6 months, all was well. I ran my own business. I enjoyed family time with her, my biological son, his 2 new brothers. Even our sex life was fantastic. Women know how to play men during sex. They can pretend to have the greatest orgasms in the world just to pimp your dumb asses out, fellas. Especially women that want to prey on the Captain Save-A-Ho types. Okay? Beware of that one also. He writes, I would sneak in the occasional bit of pussy on the side, but soon gave that up out of guilt. Guilt would soon become the silver bullet on my entire life. Guilt made me give up other women. And that is the wrong reason to give up other women. When you get too old for the game, then it's time to settle down. When you settle down to a relationship, then I believe you should actually be in that relationship also. You shouldn't feel guilty about anything you do, but you definitely need to be in a relationship. Guilt brought my lucrative business to a halt. You stop your business, how are you going to make money? You could still do the pimping, just don't touch the pussy. Be like a real pimp. Real pimps, I'm not talking about the ghetto street pimps and all that stuff. Real pimps don't touch the pussy. Guilt turned me into a live-in babysitter. Stop blaming guilt. You did it. Guilt made me give up everything I liked about myself. And worse was yet to come. She became pregnant. Now, don't get me wrong. It wasn't the pregnancy that I regret. I have 2 beautiful toddlers who give my life meaning. However, with the pregnancy came the discovery of her closet full of skeletons. A 10-year battle with depression, drug addiction, no jobs, and no prospects, no ambition. You knew this going into, I think you knew this going into the relationship. You could tell when a woman's a loser and how she preys on you. A victim of an abusive ex-husband. Drunken father, yeah. Distant mother, yeah. That makes for a destroyed individual. And I talked about that type of thing, and Mickey Royal talks about that in The Pimp Game. You guys might want to listen to my 240 minutes of audio files, 14 different audio files on this. Real shit. This woman is a perfect target for pimps. Bipolar tendencies, postpartum depression with her 2 previous children, jealousy, laziness, and on top of all that, she refused to stop smoking while pregnant with my son, which I commanded, threatened, and begged her to do. She risked your son's life? That is not a mother. That's not a woman. To risk your son's life? Your son could have came out. His son could have came out deformed, all because of her dumbass smoking. That shows a weak-ass individual. She is weak. Type that's going to blame everyone else but herself for her life troubles. He writes, and that's just what I recall while typing this email. And we went through this twice because she came pregnant again less than 2 months after Alex's birth. That means you were hitting the pussy like right away. You should have had her do oral sex for you for a while. Fast forward to present day with 2 years of her selfish behavior, which you let happen. It's your fault, brother, that you let that happen. She smoked weed daily. She would disappear for hours or days on end. That is a woman that's fucking around also. Disappearing for hours and days on end. And if you look deep inside, you know it's the truth. Somewhere in there you lost your balls. You lost your manhood. She can't respect that. She was attracted to the pimp. And you delivered her a simp. Then that's why she didn't obey you. She didn't respect you. The entire time I was left, to watch all 4 children. Did I go out and have fun? Nope. I was the responsible one. Okay, you want to be the Joan of Arc here. I can see that in your writing. Trying to keep sanity amongst 4 little children who would fall asleep crying for their mommy. Where was she? Out having coffee, smoking cigarettes, bitching, complaining. Not for when she's gone for days on end. There's some fucking going on. Open your eyes. You know the game. Complaining with her 6-year-old pathetic friend. As for me, I was losing all my friends. Alienating family who tried to convince me how her actions were affecting our family. I was alone, or at least I thought I was. I would also make sure I hate to say this, but you also may want to do some paternity tests here. I don't mean to bring that up. I don't mean to threaten your fatherhood or anything like that. But this type of female, I know that type. You cannot trust them. The moment the ship gets rocky, they disappear. True isolation came 3 weeks ago when, there it is, when she left. She left us. She took her older boys to stay with biological family members and left me, my son and daughter, alone in our new house. With no money, no vehicle, and literally in the middle of the country. Okay, I'm thinking that she must have had the money then, because you're the man. You're supposed to be making the dough, or at least controlling the dough and bringing the dough in. He goes, we have a corner store less than a 10-minute walk from the house, but that's only good for milk. There's no diapers there, no necessities. Wow. That would be a 2-hour walk with 2 babies in the blistering heat. No food bank will deliver to our location. You live in Canada. What is a food bank? Let me put a space there. I think that's supposed to be a food bank, or I'm not sure. It's one word. My nearest relative is 6 hours away. Fuck. My point to all this is not pity. I do not want it. It isn't to get attention. It is to serve as a warning to all men. All men who think they know what they are doing. That your guard must never go down. If you build an alpha phase of your life to gain power, pussy, fun, whatever your motivation, it doesn't matter. You know what? That's what I just, I just talked about that. And it's got to be in you. When it's in you, you just do as an alpha would do. An alpha would have commanded that bitch. An alpha would not have ended up in this position. This is what happens when you wear it like a mask. I told you a long time ago, you've got to build it in you, not wear it like a mask. If you had built it in you, you would have saw the game that she did on you. You would have been able to peep the game. If you guys ever get a chance to even just read the book, The Pimp Game, and you're not one of those I need A1, A2 people, you will get a lot out of that book. All that matters is you avoid the slippery slope back into your own personal hell. This is not 1957. A mother will turn her back on everything she supposedly held near and dear in order to take care of herself. A mother will not do that. She is not a mother. She is a female who had kids. That is not a mother. Okay? Like my mother is not a mother. She is a female who had kids. A real mother is sleeping back here in the bedroom. My girlfriend. She is a real mother. I've seen her with her kids. I know her to be the real type of mother. All right? He writes, nothing is sacred. Do not be fooled. This is a generation of women whose entire moral center is based on Sex in the City. And that's true. These women are acquiring masculine energy. It takes masculine energy to get up and leave your children. That's what's happening out there. I talked about the effects that's happening to men. I've talked very little about the effects that's happening to women, and this is one of them. It takes a masculine energy type of male to get up and walk the fuck out and leave her children behind. And that's what's going on. All because of several things. The feministic movement and the homosexual agenda and the changes in society out there. Those three things are changing men and women so that men are sitting home being the mothers, women are being the breadwinners out there and doing the masculine things. He writes, there is only a slim chance that you will find that diamond in the rough if that is your goal. You can create the diamond in the rough. When you're man enough and you've made her bow to your manhood, you can mold that diamond in the rough. But you got to have it inside of you. A woman can tell when it's not inside and not real. Understand that, fellas. He writes, and if that is your goal, never ever settle for second best. If you have a measuring stick for potential mates, don't give that up for tight, sweet ass. I don't care if she's a supermodel or housewife. Do not make her the center of your universe. And an alpha male type wouldn't. He wouldn't. I just talked about the same stuff today. I just finished up doing the last audio file. And I talked about this stuff. I've been recording for the last couple of days. And this is the same stuff I just talked about. He writes, do not give up your dreams and drive. It's like a bitch's energon cube. She can only sustain and survive off knowing you gave up everything for her. And that's what some women feed off of, knowing they got your complete control and command over you. That is a masculine tendency, and all women are looking to seek to land her mate. Don't get me wrong. But this woman has more masculine energy in her, from his description here. He writes, and once you've lost everything, and she loses respect for you because you didn't jump through the hoops. That is not true. She loses respect for you because you you allow her to control. If you let her drive, she has no respect for you. She's looking for the leader that will do all the driving. They will tell her what to do. They'll make her jump through hoops. Understand that our brother here lost his way as a man and as a leader. She'll seek out a new mate to repeat the process, which obviously his woman is doing. We are disposable because I allowed myself to become disposable. The man she met was an independent, goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus who fucked and ate pussy like it was going out of style. And there is a difference between a good fuck, and a real man. Okay? Just because you're fucking and eating pussy doesn't make you a real man out there, fellas. He writes, the man she abandoned 3 years ago, or she abandoned 3 years later, is a glorified babysitter, dishwasher, window cleaning bitch. I don't need to know what went wrong. I went wrong, and he knows it. I'm glad he wrote that. Don't let it happen to anyone else, ever. It will never happen to my sons because I won't allow it. If I could, I would abandon all earthly possessions, don a robe and sandals, and walk from, I need to change that word, one side of the planet to the other, gathering disciples along the way, warning all who would listen that forgetting your masculine role is a sin. Exactly. You forgot your masculine role. To be the leader. To be the leader. If she wants to do that, oh, I'm so helpless shit, let the bitch. But you still got to remember you're the leader. And if she starts dragging you down, you kick her to the curb. You got to make her do. Make her obey. Make her work for you. He writes, it should be the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not sacrifice thy balls. That is the number 1 commandment. I realize that for a long time, Player Supreme and other intelligent men within the game have preached about the natural way of things. That Mother Nature intended our households to be like a sports team with a hierarchy of command. The problem is that even when a wobbly alpha leader like myself steps up to the coach's position, we forget that the proper decisions may not always make everyone happy. And slowly, some of us turn from coach to negotiator to compromiser to towel boy. Exactly. The moment you begin to start negotiating is when you done lost your balls, and you also lost her respect. Remember, women have daddies. They learn to manipulate their daddies. A good daddy, a good father at home would not give in to his daughter. Okay? But she's learned to act that helpless thing to her father, and she learns to do that to other males. Some women learn that from the environment they come from. And this girl obviously did that also. He writes, now who is paying the price? This isn't about sex or control or feeling better about myself. My children have been abandoned by their own fucking mother because I forgot how to be the man of the house. Exactly. She would still be there if you had not have lost. You would have kept her ass pimped. You forgot to pimp. You got to still pimp when you're in a relationship. Can you think of any better reason to never fucking compromise your high standards? Every day I would just toss aside feelings and standards that I held important my entire life so she wouldn't be sad. And women learn to use that. She knows, she can see when this fella start compromising. So she would do the exact same behavior to get what she wants. And he writes, oh, so I didn't seem like a jerk like her ex. And that's how he should have been. Okay? He should have been a jerk and an asshole to her. He would have got more respect and got it his way. And she would be there right now sucking his dick instead of sucking the other motherfucker's dick across the way. Now my flesh and blood, the most precious people in my life, are being treated like an old candy wrapper, thrown out the window by their own mother. No, it is you who is being treated like that. And she lumped your kids in it, but it's you who are getting treated like that. If a stranger ever treated my kids like that, I would pummel them until their face was a fine, pasty mush. Now I stand aside, my heart is sinking because my family is now static. Another broken home. Oddly enough, I am not as upset about this situation as you might think. It has given me perspective. It has reminded me of not only who actually matters in my life, my three biological children, but it has also sparked a volcano of adrenaline within me. That is what I like to hear. Roaring at the world and your predicament and fighting back instead of giving up and whining about it. For example, over a year for over a year I've been working on getting a television show, yes, a legitimate real TV production onto the air. All the aforementioned events happened as we were supposed to start production. And I could see her doing that to sabotage this guy, this brother. This type of woman would do just that to sabotage him because she lost all respect for him. And this type of woman, when you portray yourself to be the pimp and she tests you and you weaken, she develops a hatred for men like that. And she gets mad at herself for getting sucked into it. So she designed to pay him back. And when did she pick? His most vulnerable time to walk out on him. That happens on a subconscious level. Her hatred grew to the point where she just had to walk out on him when he most needed support. Of course she's going to walk out then. Because she hates his guts. But she hates herself more for getting sucked in. She wanted a pimp and got a simp. Many people who thought I was seeking or needing pity had said to me, "Oh, I guess you'll have to postpone the TV show, move the family, start over, etc." And that's when I remembered one of Player Supreme's greatest lessons. A true player would be out in the streets and by the end of the day have $100 and get back on his feet. And I said this to myself over and over. And I reminded myself that if I stop the TV production, if I give up my home and all these things I have worked for, then without even living here, my ex still has control. She still wins. So I said, fuck her. And anyone who wants me to roll up into a ball and give up. And that's the spirit I love to read about, brothers. That's the man spirit coming back. And that's the spirit he should have had the whole time. But fuck it. It's the past. Let him grow now. My babies don't need a daddy who tucks tail and runs. They need a man who will blast through all this bullshit to get what his babies want and need. Emotionally, financially. And yes, if I had that fire in the belly the last 3 years, maybe none of this would have happened. But it did. And guess what, Supreme? I pulled my bootstraps. I was able to get a couple $100, helping hands. The TV show starts filming next week. My babies have a ton of food, diapers, and everything they need. Most importantly, they have a dad, a father figure who won't back down, a man, a leader. And this time, this leader will never slip away, never compromise, never allow the volcano to lay dormant. That's what I like to fucking hear. I am prouder than I have been in a long fucking time because I won't take the easy way out. I won't play the blame game or fall into self-pity because there is no reward as sweet as doing the right things for your children. But also, brother, there's no sweeter reward than doing better. Let that bitch suffer in the hell that she's in now while you're doing better. Let her wish she had never left you as you grow in fame and power and money. That is the best revenge to that motherfucking cunt who left your children. He writes, I am honored that I can apply what you have taught and save myself. Save my loved ones. I thank you, Supreme. More than once, your words and motivation have helped save me and now my kids. I want to help share this message of manhood, of high standards in my future. Through my TV show or whatever the case may be, I owe it to you. I owe it to my children, and I owe it to myself. Thank you for your time. Have an amazing day. This brother is going to make it. I bet you he will never, ever do this again. Sometimes life teaches us things, okay? And sometimes we have hard lessons to learn. There's a reason why this woman came into his life. He had more lessons to learn. And now he's learned them and he's ready to move on to his next lessons. That's how life works, fellas. Until next time.